Hi everybody, this is Professor Mankowski again, and in this video we're going to take a look at question number 4 on our worksheet. So let's go straight away to the question. I'm going to bring that up on screen here. Okay, I'm going to use the same strategy before. I'm going to start to read through the question, and I'm going to key down all the important information, every number that they've given me. The FBI routinely selects people for the position of security guard for the purpose of patrolling federal government buildings. To be selected for an interview, candidates must pass a basic skills test. The scores are normally distributed with a mean of 62 and a standard deviation of 8. Once test results are compiled, the top 15% of test takers are selected for an interview. Find the cutoff score. Okay, so first I'm thinking, let's get these numbers labeled. And when they mentioned the 62, that was in the context of a mean. This must be my population average mu because I don't have any information about a sample in there. Now the 8 is mentioned along with the standard deviation. So this must be my population standard deviation sigma. And what I have to do is find out what score corresponds with the upper 15%. Now, when I think about what formulas I'm going to use, this is the one that's going to apply because just like we saw in the last question video, in this particular question number 4, they gave me an area. They gave me 15%, and I have to find out what X value corresponds to that. So I know I'm going to be using the formula in the middle. And I need to check to make sure that I'm normally distributed. They mentioned that inside the question. So what I'm going to do is start by doing a curve sketch. And what I can go ahead and label is my population average is a 62. So I'm going to put that down right here. And the only other thing I could label right now is the top 15% of my area. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to circle this right here. Well, not circle, I'm going to shade in the top 15%. This is what I need to find. Okay, now I also can go ahead and pencil my formula in. Let me get that ready. X equals Z times sigma plus mu. Okay, so my mu and my sigma are going to plug straight in from the question. What's going to slow me down is the Z-score. So how do I fish out my Z-score? Well, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get ready. I'm going to put a spot in for my Z-score because I have to find out what Z-score matches that top 15%. And there's 2 ways I can get the value. I know my Z-chart only reads in less than format. So one way that I can do it is I can write down that if I'm looking at the area less than this cutoff, it would have to be equal to 1 minus 0.15, which is going to be equal to 0.85. So the left side of the whole curve is going to be equal to 85% area. The right side would be 15%. So now I can take this 85 and I can go on my Z-chart and I can look for the closest Z-score that will match the 0.85. And I'm going to bring that up on my screen. Okay, so here's my 85% circled, and it looks like my Z value is going to be 1.04. The closest I got was 85.08, and I don't have another area that's coming closer to 85% than that. So I'm going to write 1.04 down on my curve sketch. And that's going to go right in here. Z equals 1.04. Okay, now if you were wondering, another way that you could do this, you can kind of use the Z tables backwards. If we were to try to look up 15% in our chart, let's take a look and see what would happen. I'm going to go back to that same Z table again. And notice if I go into the negative side of the Z, the closest area that I can find to 15% would be 0.1492. And that belongs to the Z-score of minus 1.04. So that's the exact same z-score that we looked at before, it just has the opposite sign to it. And that's kind of a trick that we saw in the last video. So I'm going to go back to our whiteboard here. Okay, and now that I've got my z-value straight, I'm going to start to fill into my formula. I'm going to write in my x value is going to be equal to z times sigma, or I'm supposed to fill in my z. That's going to be equal to 1.04 times my sigma, which they gave me as 8, and then the average of the distribution is 62. All right. Now, if I do the math on this, I'm going to end up with, let's see what we get here, 70.32. And this is going to be my final answer to the question. That if you want an interview, you basically have to get a 70.32 on this basic skills test. Now, let's take a look at Part B. Part B says Kevin Blar is an ex-FBI security guard who runs a New Jersey-based test prep service for individuals aspiring to take the basic skills test. He guarantees that anybody who takes his test prep course will score at least a 63 on the basic skills test. Would it be wise for somebody interested in the security guard position to take his course and explain? Computations are not necessary, so it's a critical thinking question. And the problem that we would have with his test prep service is that if he's guaranteeing you score at least a 63, based on our quantitative analysis, we know that we need to get at least a 70 if we want an interview, so it's probably not too good an idea to take his prep course.